Hey guys, welcome back to Tethan Props. Today I'm going to show you how I went about making this Lord of the Rings Star Wars crossover. So if you couldn't tell, this is Gandalf the White's lightsaber. Really happy with how this has turned out. It's got a removable blade, comes out like that, but also the other thing is that you're probably going to need to charge the batteries. So the way I designed that was the handle can come off here and you've got the USB charging port, so it allows you to charge the battery that's in the handle there. Really happy with how this has turned out. It's a really unique build. I had to do it from scratch. To do that, I had to first generate the 3D files. So let's get to how I made this. First thing was I had to get a 3D model of Gandalf the White's staff. I got that model of Thingiverse, link down below to the model that I used, and then I had to chop and change it, cut it up, change the dimensions, the proportions a lot so it would suit a lightsaber shape more. I had to add in a few extra shapes to make it actually usable in a lightsaber form. And then what I did with these prints was I printed them on two different printer types. The top section was printed in PLA. I printed this in the FDM because it was quite thin up the top sections, and I didn't want to print that on my resin printer because those bits are a bit more fragile. They're not as hardy, they're smoother, but for that bit I didn't need the most smooth parts, so I chose FDM. The rest of the prints were done on my SLA printer, so my resin printer, and I did that in those because it's good for the body of the lightsaber, and you get a much smoother print. With the SLA print, there's a bit more post-processing that needs to happen. So as soon as the print is finished, you need to use a spatula to wedge the prints off the print bed. Once you've got the prints off, it's a good idea to just give them a quick wipe down with a paper towel to clean off any excess resin. You then take it to your isopropyl alcohol bath or any kind of cleaning agent that you're using and make sure to scrub off all the excess resin. After that, you just clean the parts in some soapy water. Following that, it's time to cure the resin. So what you can do is either leave them outside in the sun for a little bit, or you can just use a curing box, which is just a UV light. All the parts are off the printer. Perfect. I need to make this a little bit wider so that this is the same size of the lightsaber. So if this can fit through there, we know that the lightsaber blade's gonna fit through there. So the reason I printed this in filament is you can actually bend filament with a little bit of heat. So I'm gonna grab the heat gun, warm it up a little bit, and then just try and bend these prongs out a little bit. So I think that's what I wanna do first. So let's get to it. So once it's there, I'm gonna let that sit and cool down for a bit, and then we can remove this, and that stage is done. This is where the main part of the lightsaber is gonna come out, so the blade. We've got the adapter that is the exact right size for the lightsaber blade here, but you can see it sticks out quite a lot, so we need to cut this down. All right, have this part cut. So I need to glue this in to here. It's quite a tight fit, and once I put a little bit of glue in there, it's gonna dry up super quick. It's gonna set up really quick. And then just quickly get it in. There we go. So we have the attachment for where the lightsaber blade's gonna go in, mounted into the actual body. The next part is I've got the length of PVC here, which I need to lock in place like that. When I have the button coming out of here, I need a hole drilled through there so that I can actually press the button. To mark out, I think that's as far as it goes in. I'm just gonna mark out here exactly where I need to drill out. We can pull this out, and I need to drill a hole right here. But the hole drilled, so this hole is a little bit bigger than here because when I put some glue in and try and get this in place quickly, it might set up really fast, so I want to make sure that doesn't happen. I'm probably going to end up cutting it off about here, but it's a lot easier to get this inserted when I've got a better handle to hold. So I think I'm going to glue this in now, put it in, and then I'm going to cut it off where I need to. All right, here we go. Perfect. See, that is instantly, that's not moving anywhere. Great. So on to the next step. All right, I've got these 25 millimeter connectors. These connectors fit perfectly on this size PVC. So I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna end up cutting this about here, maybe even here to start with. So I'm gonna cut that off there. See if I can actually get this connector in all the way. If I can, we're good. And then what will happen is I'll attach this to this. So this will be a part of the handle, and the handle will slide on to the rest of the lightsaber. They go on pretty tight with friction, so once that's on, that doesn't come off. And that is enough to hold it together. Got that cut. So testing that on there, perfect. And this will slide over like that. And that'll form the basis of my handle. All come together. Time to glue this together. So this gets glued onto here. I think I'm gonna leather wrap this part of the handle with white leather. The rest of it will just be gloss white paint. I've got a little bit of work to do up on the top here, but apart from that, and that's gonna work out perfect. Let's start putting this top section together. What I need to do is just put a lot of glue on each of these 3 corners. So I've already sanded the bottom of that and sanded the top here, and that means that they will join together a lot better. Right. We've glued this together, but there's the tiniest little gaps. I'm not sure if you can see them, but the tiniest little gaps in between this resin 3D print and the filament 3D print. So the way that I'm going to fill those in is I've just got some dust powder here. This is from when I sand the resin parts. There's a heck of a lot of dust that builds up. So I've just collected some of that. And what I'm going to do is just mix it with some super glue until it's like a paste. And then I'm just going to put it on there, and then I'm going to go back later and just sand it down. And it should be pretty smooth. I've sanded the connections there, so I think it's ready to start painting. And because this is 3D printed with a filament printer, there's little print lines there, so I want to get rid of those first before I start painting it properly. And to do that, I'm going to use this Rust-Oleum spray putty. So this is a really, really thick spray paint. So a couple coats and then sanded, and then maybe one final coat will really just fill in every single one of those print lines. Hopefully it'll help me get that super smooth, the connections there, and then it'll be ready for proper painting. So I've decided for the handle on Gandalf's lightsaber that I'm not really happy with how thin that looks, and I decided I'm going to put some stitching in there. So I also want to put some ridges on there, but I'm going to do a spiral ridge that goes from the top all the way down to the bottom. So to do that, I'm just going to get some twine, I'm going to wrap it all the way down, and then I'm going to do my stitching method, lay it over the top and tighten it, and we'll go from there. Alrighty, there's the handle. Can you guess what I did? Oh my god, I am an idiot. I did it on the short end, not the long end. I'm gonna do this another day. The last you saw, I was gonna put a white handle on this, but I changed my mind and ended up going with the blue leather handle. Really happy with how that looks. And you can see underneath the spiral handle that I put in there. So, as you can see, I've also painted the cap or the pommel and the joiner white. And I've also painted the rest white. There we have our two pieces. That'll slide together, just like that. It's looking good. All right, the next thing I need to work on is the battery pack that goes in the bottom here. It's time to work on the actual electronics. So all I've got here is a 1000 lumen torch, so quite a bright torch, and some colored discs. So I think for Gandalf, I was tossing up between blue, a yellow lightsaber, but I think we've definitely just got to go blue. So I'm going to need those, going to need this. I first have to kind of take this apart, so what I'm going to do is just cut it up a little bit and take out the stuff in the middle. So be right back. I have all my components. Just as always, I want to make this as kind of I don't want to use much glue. I want to make this as non-permanent as possible, because if something goes wrong with the light, I want to be able to take it all apart and fix it. What I've got is I've got my light source, I've got a spacer, and then I've got my lens and my blue filters. So that's all going to go together in one piece and create the blue light. So the point of the lens is to focus where the blue light is. If I didn't have the lens, it would just be like that, but focusing with the lens means that you get the light going up the lightsaber blade instead of just dispersing everywhere. All this just needs to be glued together. Not glued, sticky taped together. So what this is going to do is slot up in the lightsaber like this. The button is going to insert all the way down there, and there we go. The button's a little bit recessed, but we can work with that. Just like that. I think that's it done, guys. That looks awesome. I didn't actually expect the light to capture all that so well. With the lights off, that is so awesome. I love it when stuff turns out better than you expected. This is definitely one of those cases. When I was modeling this on the computer, I was like, oh, it looks pretty good, but I'm not sure how it's gonna look finished. But Jesus, this looks very good. It slides all the way in there. What do you reckon? Lights off for this? You ready? I'm gonna turn it on. How good is that? I'm very happy with how this has turned out. Very, very, very happy. So if I ever want to charge it, all I've got to do is just remove this part of the handle, and there's a USB charging port in there, just there. So really easy to charge if I need to, but wow. Just wow. There we go, guys. That is Gandalf's lightsaber completed. So this is my mashup between Lord of the Rings and Star Wars, and really couldn't be happy with how that's turned out. I love how the light in the end here just reflects off all the inside bits. It just, yeah, looks great. And I can insert the lightsaber blade. Friction fit in there, and there we go. Just looks absolutely amazing. Couldn't be happy with how this has turned out. All right, there we go, guys. Hope you enjoyed. That is how I made, from scratch, Gandalf's lightsaber. Hope you enjoyed it. like and subscribe. Check out my other videos. I'm also working on a lot more Lord of the Rings, Star Wars crossovers, so stay tuned. But yeah, hope you enjoyed this one. I'll see you on the next one. See you guys.